Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhuta Guhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarvavide Namah. Vachya Veda tu tad Veda Kalpyo Vachyo Vitachrute Trayam Tve Tattatah Proktam Rupam Nama Cha Karma Cha. So, Jnani ka artha parattatvat, because the whole Veda is devoted to revealing knowledge of the self. What knowledge? The identity, Brahmatmaikya Jnanam, the knowledge of the identity of Brahma and Atma, Paratvat, that is the only agenda. Veda is only devoted to revealing this knowledge. Ekatvam Hyatmanognyam Vakyartha Pratipattitah. Because Mahavakya, there is only one Vakya, Mahavakya, others are all Avantara Vakyas. And therefore, when we understand the meaning of Mahavakya, it is very clear that Ekartatvam, there is only one Artha. So one Artha is knowledge. And Karma is not the Artha, Karma is the only Gaun Artha. Parampariyena Paramapurusadhana Bhavam. Karma becomes also Paramapurusadhana Sadhanam Parampariyena. In sequence. Parokshitaya, indirectly, knowledge is the immediate means and karma is the indirect means. So this is one Ekavakyata. Other one was Ekavakyata. In this was question, Tad Bheda, that the Bheda or the duality, the mutual exclusion, that Ghata excludes the Pata and Pata excludes the Ghata. Ghata is not what Pata is, Pata is not what Ghata is, that's called Bheda. Vachya Bheda, Tad Bheda Kalpya hai. Because for this entity what Ghata is used, for this entity what Pata is used, therefore Vachya Veda, it is taken for granted that this entity called ghata, the entity, is different from this pata. Because they are used for different purposes, they serve different purposes. So they are different entities. Vachya bhedat, because we take for granted the bheda, or the duality of the objects, therefore we say that the words also ghata and pata mean different things. Tachrute, and since word ghata and pata are not pariyaya shabda, they are not synonyms, and therefore what they refer to also is different. So because the objects ghata-pata are different, therefore the words ghata-pata have different meanings. And because the words ghata and pata are not synonyms, therefore what they refer to, the objects also are different. So in order to establish the bheda or duality, we have to take for granted the duality. Independently, you cannot prove that ghata is one entity, pata is another entity. Tat siddho itara siddhi. Therefore, the difference between entities ghata and pata presuppose the difference or duality of the words ghata and pata. And the difference or duality of words ghata and pata presuppose the duality of the entities ghata and pata. Therefore, anyonya sapekshatvat, the bheda or the difference is only arrived at by, is dependent upon each other. Independently you cannot arrive at that. Therefore it is mithya. Asad etatrayam tasmat anyaha anyena hi kalpitam. Then he quoted that this vakya also, trayam vaidam nam rupam karma. Upanishad says that this is threefold, nama rupa karma, the jagat is there. So nama is different, rupa is different, karma. This three are mentioned. Says no. So nama, rupa, karma, the words are not synonymous. And therefore what they refer to are also different. So that's not so, because nama cannot be determined independent of rupa. The word, the nama ghata cannot be determined independent of the form ghata. And rupa, the form ghata, cannot be determined independent of the nama. Same thing is vachya and vachaka. And karma cannot be independently determined of name and form. So anyonya sapeksha siddhikam. Each one requires the other two for determining what it is, and therefore tasmat asad itanvaha, therefore it is asad or mithya. Or ekavakyatvam of the Vedas. So pramanam Veda, the whole Veda is one vakya. Not that karma is one vakya and jnana is another vakya. So one ekavakya is that knowledge alone is the purpose. But then karma kanda seems to have a different anumanda chatushtaya. Adhikar is different, the purpose is different. And Jnana Kanda is an independent text. So no, kasarvasya vedasya ekat jnana paratvan ekavakyatvam niyantam shakyate. Again, we find apunarakta shabda bheda vede vashat. The words are different in one kanda as compared to other kanda. Processes are different, goals are different. So there also essentially the same argument is there. Because vachya vede tad bheda kalpya. And tat shrutehe vachya veda kalpya. And so the Tikakara explained very nicely here. Nai shabdadhina artha tattva nishchaya. Artha tattva, the nishchaya, the ascertainment of the artha, the meaning, is not dependent upon the word. It is not the word that necessarily decides the meaning. That word ghata is one, word pata is different. Doesn't mean that the words are different, doesn't mean that the meaning has to be different. Because For the purpose of, why? In the case of Aropita, the words are Sarpa, then Bhuchidra, Mara, the words are different. Meaning is one, Rajju. Therefore, Nishabdadina Artha Tattva Nishaya Napi Arthadina Shabda Nishaya. Nor the Artha, the object decides what the Shabda is. Because the object is one person here and Shabdas are many. Pita, Bhrata, Matulaha, etc. And how come one person gets all these designations? It's only because of Upadi Bhedat. And therefore, so Pratiyogi Upadi Bheda Vitirekena. The standpoints are different. Same person is called Pita by somebody, Mama, Matula by somebody, Pita, Kaka, Pitrubhya by somebody else. So because Upadi Veda, because the standpoints are different, therefore how one person gets different words or meanings cannot be determined by the words, words cannot determine meaning, meaning cannot determine the word. Meaning there is no rule that because the words Ghata and Pata are different, that they stand for different entities. And because these two entities look different, therefore the words are different. The exception is, I was shown here, how in case of what is superimposed, this rule doesn't apply. How also when an entity has different standpoints, then also this rule doesn't apply. Tathacha anadi avidya kalpita aneka upadi bheda bheda avachinna aneka kartradi karaka bheda anuvadena. So karma requires duality. All the karakas required, but then these karakas are all different. Karta is different, karma is different, karanam is different, kriya is different, phalam is different. Words are different. Their meanings also seem to be different. But then all these are upadhis, they are all standpoints. All of these are product of ignorance, which is itself is no cause. And therefore, aneka kartradi karka ved anuvadena. So what is taken for granted by people, that karta is one, karma is another one, kriya is third one, karanam is fourth one, etc. So kathanchit, somehow the duality is taken for granted by it. So that was said earlier. Kathanchit loka siddho mithya veda shrutya anudyate. In trayam va e idam nama rupam karma. Shruti says three because somehow people have accepted these three as different, therefore referring to that to show what it really means. When the Shruti talks of three, it is not what Shruti thinks it is three. It is because of what the listener thinks as three. Therefore Shruti starts from what the listener thinks and then all makes him see what the reality is. And therefore, as long as I think I am a karta, and that is also karma and that is the phala, as long as I think they are all different, so long Shruti accepts it temporarily and asks me to do something so that I can overcome or grow out of this duality. That's called karma or rather kartavya. So anuvadena jnana apekshata antaka shuddhi sadhana karma vidhi paratvat. So karma vidhi is one vakya and jnana vidhi is different vakya. Karma vidhi is a different process, involves effort. Jnana offers a different process of vichara. They look different? But no, karma vidhi vakya is only meant to prepare for this jnana vidhi, drashtavya, shrotavya. What is expected? Antahakana shuddhi apekshitatvat. So because antahakana shuddhi is required for the jnanam, therefore that's the purpose that karma kanda serves. Thus karma kanda serves the purpose of enabling me to achieve the goal of my life, which is Swarga? Or does karma kanda serve the purpose of enabling to achieve the goal, which is moksha? Swarga is all included in moksha, therefore it does not deserve to be a separate goal. Moksha alone, the desire behind all the desires, is the mumuksha, desire for moksha. Keeping that in mind, even though this fellow thinks that karma, karta, karma is all different, so taking for granted or accepting what this person thinks, guiding that person, so how to conduct himself so that in course of time he will gain antaka shuddhi, to recognize that that cannot be real, the gain of swarga cannot be the goal of my life. So vairagya comes when he recognizes futility of all the ends. As long as he thinks that these are all real ends, so long, do it, but do it this way. When you do it that way, then slowly in course of time you will recognize the futility of that. So call it antaka shuddhi, call it vairagya. And there were two. So then it is vidya, avidya, avastha. We can also say vidya, avidya, avastha, upadi bhedena, adhikari bhedat. Or, so avidya, vidya, aviveka and viveka. First adhikari is aviveki, second adhikari is viveki. Avidya, vidya, or aviveka, viveka. So karma kanda is meant for the same person when he is in avidya avastha, meaning that he is aviveki. Why aviveki? Because it takes for granted the duality of the karta, karma, all the karakas are different. So aviveka is there. Then antaka shuddhi makes him viveki. He realizes it's not real, and now he pursues something that is the adhisthana of them. So as long as functioning at adhyaropa level, aviveka is there, that's the purpose of karma kanda, to make him grow out of that. Now that he's gained the viveka and he wants now the knowledge of non-duality, then he becomes adhika, same person now. So not that two different persons are addressed, that's an important thing. That karma kanda addresses one person. Jnana kanda are different person, same person, but different avastha, the different stage. Therefore, eka purusha, apekshita, eka paramapurushad, eka sadhana, prakasakatvena. Eka purusha apekshita, one Arjuna. Apekshita, what he expects is only moksha. Yashreyasat nischitam bruhitam me. Arjuna made very clear what he was seeking. Yashreyasat, yad nischitam shreyasat, nischitam bruhi. What can enable to attain nishreyasa? Attaining which nothing remains to be attained. So Arjuna is clear what he wants. If then Arjuna wants nishreyasa, how can Lord Krishna tell him do this and that and then so many things? He cannot have different goals. He can have only one goal which he has already clarified. So Lord Krishna will guide him. So ultimately attains the Shreyasa. For that Karma Yoga is the first step and the Jnana Sankhya Yoga is the second step. Lokasmin Dvida Nishtha Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Ekavakyata Vedasya Yukta. So Ekavakyata Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has only one Vakyata. Not that Karma Yoga is one path and Raja Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Different Vakyas will be there. That means that it is all different, is addressing 4 different adhikaris or 4 different goals. It's not 4 different adhikaris, only one adhikari is addressed with in mind only one goal. Then continuing now, evam dvaitasya avidya kalpitatve yuktim avidhaya. So dvaita between Jiva and Brahma is avidya kalpitam. Dvaita involved in the karma of the karta or the karaka also is avidya kalpitam. And therefore ekavakyata in terms of the oneness of Jiva and Brahma, or ekavakyata in terms of what karma kanda and jnana kanda seek to achieve. So yuktim abhidaya pramanam abhidatte. Upanishad itself says how non-duality is the reality of the apparent duality. So statement quoted was ayam va idam nam rupam karma. Idam nam rupam karma. All this is nama rupa karma. So looks like they should be accepting nama and rupa and karma, all this duality should be accepting. So what is the purpose of the statement? Is to validate the duality of nama rupa karma, or to reveal the identity of oneness which is the root of this nama rupa karma. So why did Shruti say Trayam Vaidam Nam Rupam Karma? So Tikakara says Yatahayam Anirupita Akara Bheda Prapanchaha. I am Prapancha. This Prapancha is Anirupita Akara Bheda. The nature of this Prapancha is not yet determined. When the Upanishad says Trayam va idam na rupam karma, then the reality of this universe is not yet determined what it is. And therefore there is this only reiteration, anuvada of what is taken as real. Now only this much is quoted, but we should look at the entire section there. Then only we will understand what the Tika means. So Upanishad says, Trayam Vaidam. This universe indeed consists of these three things, Trayam Vaidam. This universe consists of three things. Nama, Rupam, Karma, name, form, action. Now we should also look at what the Upanishad says further. Upanishad simply does not stop here. Anirupita Akara Veda. So the Akara Veda is not to determine what that Veda is. That Nama, Rupa, Karma. The Veda between them is not yet determined. Whether real Veda is there or not. So then the Upanishad says, Tesham Namnam Vagityedat Esham Uktam. The teacher says to the student there, Tesham, of all these names, then Vagityedat Esham Uktam. The speech or sound is the Ukta or the source of all the names. What is the source? The speech or the sound is the source of all the names. So, Dev, Ghata, Pata, Matha, Rama, Krishna, whatever names are there, sound is what is the universal of all of them. So therefore, Atohi, Sarvani, Namani, Uttishthante. Because all the names, as we say, Devadatta, Yajnadatta, Vishnumitra, all of these emerge from sound. Etat Esham Sama. The sound is a Sama, or the Samam, the one. So this is the common feature of all the names is sound. Etaddi Sarvanami Samam, because sound is Samam, common to all the names, good, bad, indifferent, whatever names are there. Etad Esham Brahma, sound is Brahma, or the self of all the names. Etaddi Sarvani Namani Vibharati. This self alone, in fact, sustains all the names. Self in the form of sound sustains all the names. Sound is the source of all the names. Sound is the Samanya. Each name is a Vishesha. All the Visheshas spring from the Samanya. So far now we are going to one, Samanya, then Mahasamanya, etc. So, as far as Nama is concerned, Samanya is what? The Vag or the sound in general. Atha Rupanam Chakshuitit Eshamuktam. All the forms have their source in the Achakshu, in the eyes or in the light, in fact. Atohi Sravani Rupani Uttishtanti. It is from the Chakshu, or so there is visibility or there's light from which all the forms emerge. And therefore, the Chakshu, or call it light, is the Sama or the Samanam, the one common feature of all the forms. And therefore, the light is the Atma of them that sustains all the forms. Atha Karmanam Atmaitad Eshamuktam. The body is the source of all the karma. So karmas are all different. Source body is one which sustains all the karma. The rupas are different, but then the eyes is one common, sustains them all. Nama are different, and the sound, one that sustains. Now these three, which is what? The sound and the form or light and the body. They did the trem, Sat. Now all these three also reduce to one, Sat, Chit or Ananda, Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Sat Ekamayam Atma. All of this is Sat and all of this is one Atma. Tadeta Amrutam. This is one immortal which is Satyena Chandam. So these five elements of the Upadhi is what conceals it and oneness. The Nama is one Upadhi, Rupa is another Upadhi, Karma is third Upadhi. The Upadhi is what conceals the Adhishthanam, or what is the true nature of that. Tadeta Amrutam Satyena Chandam. And therefore, the Adhisthana of all of this is the reality. That's how the Upanishad itself leads us to understand the inherent oneness which is there in the apparent duality. So what the Tikakara says here is that look, the Upanishad doesn't merely stop at saying that Trayam Vaidam Nam Rupam Karma. That is only a proposition. And then Upanishad leads us to the non-duality, and that's what the Tikakara explains here. So Trayam Vaidam Nam Rupam Karma iti Asmin Brahmane means Brahmana Vakya. In this Kandika, Brahmana Vakya. Hetu Ukti Purvakam. Now, the Hetu or the reason, cause being, the source is being stated. Shabda Visheshana Vang Matratvam. Then the Upanishad proceeds to say that Vag or the sound is a Hetu and therefore is the source of all of this Nama. Rupa Visheshana, the Chakshu is a common thing. So Chakshu is the source of all the Rupa, therefore in all the Rupa, Chakshu is a common. Rupa Visheshana Chakshur Matratvam. So all the forms are nothing but the Chakshu. All the Nama is nothing but the sound. Karma Visheshana, Sharira Matra, all the karmas which originate from the body, so karma is nothing but the Sharira. Iti Vishesha Pravilapanena. Therefore, what is meant is Nama is the Vishesha Avastha of the sound, Shabda. Nama is Shabda, Vishesha is called Nama. Chakshur Vishesha is called Rupa. Atma Vishesha, Sharira Vishesha is called Karma. So first Vishesha are reduced to Samanya. Vishesha Pravilapanena. By saying that Shabda Visheshana Vang Matratam, Shabda is Vishesha, Vang is Samanya. So, Vishesha Pravilapanena, the Vishesha or the particularities are all reduced to the general Samanya Tritva Vidaya. So, Samanya Tritvam is that this is Vang, Rup or Chakshur and Atma or Sharira. Tadetattrayam Sat. Then it proceeds to say Tadetattrayam Sat. These three also are Sat. Ekam Ayam Atma. All of this is nothing but Sat and Atma Eka San Etattrayam. These three are nothing but Atma and Atma is nothing but these three. Aikatmyam Sarvasya Jagadopasamhrutam. So this is Anuvada. Trayam Vaidam Nam Rupam Karma is Anuvada of what the student thinks is real. And then the teacher makes him say that ultimately all of this reduces to Sat. Aikatmyam. So Upanishads have different prakriya. This is similar to the Chandogya prakriya. Aikatmyam Sarvasya Jagad Upasamhrutam. So Upasamhara, the conclusion is with the Aikatmyam. The whole Jagat is one Atma. And one Atma alone is the source of all of this, from which everything springs, sustains, etc. Ataha na tattva veda asti. Therefore, in Nama, Rupa, Karma, there is a Veda at one level. Tattva Veda is not there. Swarupata, essentially they are not different. Jiva and Brahma appear to have difference as far as the form is concerned. Swarupata. So now Rupa Karma also, Swarupata, not different. It is. Upasamharate. So this is concluded in the next verse. Asadetattrayam tasmad Anyonyena hi kalpitam Kruto varno yatha shabdad Shruto nyatra dhiya bahi. Tasmad etat trayam asat. Tasma uktartham etat. We just recognize, we just discussed how all of these three are asat and the one is sat. Etat trayam asat. Anyonyai kalpitam was explaining because each one requires the other. Nama requires Rupa to be there because word is said Ghata cannot be only the form Ghata appears. The form Ghata cannot only one word Ghata is there. And the karma that Ghata performs cannot only the Nama Rupa is there. Kalpita means sapeksham. Anyonya sapeksham. Each one depends upon the other to be there. Nama cannot be unless Rupa is there. Rupa cannot be unless Nama is there. And karma cannot be unless Nama Rupa is there. Tasmad atat asat. Alright, then Tika says Anyonya apekshaya avagamyamanasa mithyatve. So how can you just make a statement that just because these are dependent upon each other as a mithya? How do you say that? Alright, sapekshata is there. That Nama requires Rupa, Rupa requires Nama, Karma requires Nama Rupa. But what makes it mithya? Anyonya apekshaya avagamyamanasya. So that is understood as dependent upon each other. And therefore, after depends what you see, mithyatve. So that it is mithya, Drishtanta is stated. Second line said, Kruto varno yatha shabdat shuta anyatra dhyabahi. So, Kruto varno yatha shabdat shruta. Shabdat shruta varna. So when you hear the word or the description, Indradi Rupa Vishesha. So Indra is being described Sahasraksha Vajrabahutvadihi. Indra is Sahasraksha, is 1000 eyes. Vajra Bahuhu, he holds Vajram in his hand. So that's how the standard description of Indra. That's what you hear. So Shabda Shrutaha. Shabda is the Shabda, or the description, the words. Even word Indra also, and it is described this way. Then Dhya Pratyuhya Anyatra. So then this Varna or the Vishesha that is described, Vishesha or Indra that is described by the words as Sahasraksha Vajrabahu, a thunderbolt he holds in his hand, wields in his arms, hands. Dhya Pratyuhya. So Buddhi then grasps that. Buddhi visualizes the description. Anyatra Bahi Kunyadav Chitrupena Krutaha. Then this person will effectively paint this on a wall or on canvas. Yatha Kalpita Mithya. So you have a very beautiful painting of Indra. And very, lively, so lifelike painting of Indra. But then, Mithyayati, because this painting is totally product of the description of you heard. And description again is only dependent upon some painting or some entity which is imagined by Buddhi. So imagination of Buddhi is described in words, and those words create another imagination which creates the form. So Nama creates the Rupa. The form Indra is created by the Nama Indra. How? That Nama or the word Indra or description is heard by the Buddhi. Buddhi grasps that and then converts it into Rupa. Nai chitre drishyam eva rupa indrasya bhavati. So how Shabda brings about Rupa which is Mithya. That is the Drishtanta here. Nai chitre drishyam eva rupa indrasya bhavati. The Indra exactly of this form, there is no way of saying that, is purely dependent upon the description. Tathacha Mithya gochara Shabda Indra makes its object, this entity, the painting or Rupa, which is Mithya. Because this Rupa is totally derived from Shabda. And then next will be Shabda derived from the Rupa. And so this way the whole Saguna thing is dismissed by the way. That anything that is described in the words has a Vishesha is Mithya. Because everybody will have a different, now we see Adi Shankaracharya, And next, that will be the next one. But then, Mirabai will have realization of Lord Krishna which will be subjective of her own. Surdasa will have the realization of Sri Krishna. One realizes the Giridhari, Govardhandara, Adhavari, Shankha Chakra, Gada, Padmadhari. That they are divine, no doubt about that. But only from the standpoint of the truth which cannot, when you abhaditam satyam, that way they are not abhaditam. Bhadayogyam, Ayaram, Gayaram, Bhishma, Gayaram, that's how they used to make fun of things. I don't make, all I am saying is that is called satyam. Only the seer is a satyam really. He doesn't come and go. Not seer as ego. Even the truth of the ego alone is satyam. So continuing Shabdat Mithyat Kalpana Udahritya. How from Shabda the Mithya Kalpana comes of the Varna or the Rupa. Mithyat Shabda Kalpana, so Mithyat Artha Shabda Kalpana Udaharati. How Shabda comes from the Rupa. Rupa of painting of Indra came from the Shabda Indra. So Shabda comes from that Rupa. Next verses. Drustam chapi yatha rupam Buddhe Shabdaya Kalpate Evametat Jagat Sarvam Bhranti Buddhi Vikalpitam. It is important to ascertain the mithyatvam of the duality, then only the knowledge of the satyatvam of non-duality can take place. As long as Dvaita is real so long, the knowledge of Dvaita cannot take place because Dvaita is real, therefore it can't be dismissed from my mind. How can you say that? And so this question arises again and again. So Vedantic teachers have difficulties naturally with the people, students coming from different backgrounds. They have grown to give reality to what my grandfather told me and my grandmother said this, this is what my teacher was doing, etc. And so, unless we see that it has its own place, Vedanta should not say, in case anybody says that this has no meaning, I should dismiss, that's all wrong. All of these have their own place and a great, because that's called karma, that's a contribution to make. Bhakti or devotion is a great contribution to make to prepare him for recognizing the oneness existing and all of this. But at the same time should not stop there. Says even if it is a divine vision, you should not stop there because there is something more divine than that. Why more divine? Because more lasting. The divine vision also ultimately is temporary. And that divine vision also arises from something more divine which is lasting. Abhaditam. That's all the Vedantin wants. They don't think that you're losing anything. By graduating from Dvaita to Dvaita, they don't lose. They think that all this will go away. It doesn't go away. It only grows into something superior, better. So it's called Amritam. Tadet Amritam Brahma. Atma etad Brahma etad Amritam. Abhayam. So Shabdat Mithyat Kalpana. Udaharta Mithyat Shabda Kalpana. So how Artha ki also gives that to Shabda. Mithya Artha gives that to Shabda. Dushtam chapi yatharum buddhe shabdaya kalpate. So dushtam rupam. You see in a form? Bhitti patadav dushtam devata rupam. Continue the same example. In one case you heard the description of a kathakara as to what Indra is and then you drew the picture. But elsewhere you saw the picture of Indra. Bhitti patadav, just on a wall or on a canvas. Devata rupam, you saw the form of a devata. Tadvadeva buddhe tad darshana samskrutaya agatya shabdaya shabda vyapadeshaya kalpate. Rupam that you see, then buddhe tad darshana samskrutaya buddhe. The buddhi has a samskara or the impression of that darshanam. People are very, vivid impressions. They can vividly describe things that they see. People vividly describe the dream. Vividly describe. That's how the great painters are, that they see and draw exactly what it is. Or they imagine something and they can express that exactly, very, very effectively they express in the painting. That's how the paintings, the quality is. You see something that $3 million, what is $3 million here? You see nothing. It's just some mad person, somebody who is depressed that is being shown there. And this painting was sold in $3 million. But then you have to have that perception of what this paint, how effective it is. How all the various, what is inside that person is all brought out very beautifully here in the painting. So anyway, thus the buddhi can vividly remember tad darshan samskrutaya buddhe agatya. Fifth case, from buddhi which is now colored by or with the impression of that painting that you see on the wall or on the canvas. Buddhi agatya shabdaya kalpate. From that samskara, then that gains the form of a word, that I saw Indra. So therefore, because samskara is there, that this is the painting, and therefore this is Indra. So that painting or the rupa gave rise to the nama Indra, or whatever it is, Empire State Building, Grand Canyon, something that you see, a painting, you saw that form and then the name is implanted in your memory. So name simply arises from rupa. The source of name, how did you get this name Indra in your mind? From the rupa that you saw. Any word that you have is all derived from the form that you have seen. So word that you heard gives rise to the form, and form that you see, that is chakshu, that gives rise to the word. Now if you see the whole source of language and all transactions, that's what we find. That we think that Indra is what it is and that's how it is. There can be great debate about who Indra is, how is he, and what kind of thunderbolt he is, and how many eyes he has, and how many hands he has. And there can be great debate on that. And people can argue and fight with each other, not realizing that all of this is at a certain level of imagination, kalpana. So this is drishtanta, how the name gives rise to form, name Indra gives rise to, name means word, description of Indra gives rise to the form Indra, and the form Indra gives rise to description of Indra. Then I will describe it vividly. Kathakaras vividly describe things very beautifully. All the leelas of Lord Krishna are vividly described, as though it is happening. Swamiji, he sees this, and I'm sure, yes, he does. So how that rupa gives rise to nama, or how the nama gives rise to rupa. So this is the nama rupa, this is the anyonya hi kalpitam, anyonya sapeksham, anyonya hi kalpitam. Rupa brings about kalpana of nama, and nama brings about kalpana of rupa. Dashtanti. Now, this is drishtanta for determining reality of jagat. So, trayam va edam na rupam karma. Therefore, evam. So, the second line of the verse 12 said, evam etat jagat saram bhranti buddhi vikalpitam. In a manner similar to that, etat jagat is what? Nama, rupa and karma. So, nama is the source in rupa, rupa is the source in nama, and karma is the source in nama rupa. Etat saram jagat evam yatha, because jagat consists of nama, rupa and karma. So nama is kalpitam, rupa is nama kalpitam. Therefore, yatha drishtadameva bhranta drishtya, even the whole jagat also is bhranti buddhi vikalpitam, or bhranta buddhi vikalpitam, or bhranti buddhi vikalpitam. So, Bhranta Buddhya Vikalpitam, Vividena Kalpitam. And the Kalpana is so vivid, and then it has become so tangible in our mind. All of these things have become, not only the objects have become tangible, the feelings they create also are equally tangible. Our whole life is lived on what we think is tangible, real. Really, this fellow did this, did not do it, this is how it is, not so, etc. So we are all very, very sure about that. So we are very sure about what the reality is, and that's how we conduct ourselves. Bhranta buddhya shukto rajatamiva. What is not there is projected like the rajat on the shukti. Similarly, all of these are not there and projected upon Atma. Atmani vikalpitam, vividena kalpitam. All of this is So that is what the Upanishad showed, and we saw that. And that's what this text also says. Tad etatrayam sad ekayam atma, atma eka san etatrayam. All of this is sad atma, and sad atma is all of this. Namastu sadasti, and therefore this jagat, this nama, rupa and karma itself doesn't have any reality at all. It is totally projection or hollow, looks like tangible or real, as long as not analyzed. Avichara siddha samsara. Jagatah mithyatva phalitamaha. So Vedantin sees it very necessary to establish the mithyatvam or the unreality of Jagat. That doesn't mean dismissing Jagat, disregarding, disrespecting Jagat. That's not the point at all. Vedanta addresses the realities of life. Because it is the understanding of reality which is the problem. The Bhranti Kalpitam, the Brahma, a wrong understanding of reality is the problem, and therefore the right understanding is the solution. This is Vedanta's diagnosis of the problem. Jagatah mithyatva phalitamaha. And therefore, what is the conclusion now, or the result? The 13th verse says, Asade tattato yuktam sacchin matram na kalpitam vedaschapi sa evadyah vedyam chanyattu kalpitam. This procedural line of the Mandukya Karika, one by one, showing us the relative nature of what we have been revering also. From the disciple, there is nothing more reverential than Guru or Shastra. So there is also duality which also Mandukya Karika addressed. Upadeshadayam vadaha jnate dvaitam nividyate. So therefore it's asad etat tato yuktam, tataha etat asad yuktam, etat trayam nama rupam karma asad yuktam. It is only fit that it is asad or mithya. Mithya means the standpoint. Call it appearance, call it standpoint. Because Jagat also is what appears to be from the standpoint of the observer. As Einstein, all experiments he conducted mentally. Then imagine that you are riding a space ship and then looking at the Jagat. So as long as you are also moving the same speed as Jagat, so long everything is very tangible. But when your ship or vehicle in which you are riding, when that gathers speed, more the speed increases, more the tangibility starts disappearing. And when the vehicle on which you are riding attains the speed of light, there is no form remaining. So this form also is relative, depending on the perception, Drishtabindu, standpoint. So it is mithya. This mithyatva is very clearly demonstrated. Very clearly. It doesn't go into our life. Same fellow, when he goes out, he will behave differently, and take everything as real. But the mithyatvam, the appearance, this appearance of what is tangible was very demonstrated. Sarvam kalpitam chet shunyavada avarapatti, everything is kalpitam. Idam aitatrayam paidam nama rupam kalpitam. Nama, rupa, karma is all kalpitam. Then what is, nothing is left? Shunyavadapatti, then does it mean that there is nothing at all? It is all shunyam, it is all non-existence. Iti ashanka na karya. No, that ashanka should not be. Says satchin matram na kalpitam. Says niradhisthana kalpana anupatte. Vedanta says that kalpana cannot be unless there is something upon which you imagine. Imagination requires some tangible entity. Without adhishthanam, the kalpana of projection cannot be. Therefore, sarva kalpana aspadam sanchin matram pratyektatvam na kalpitam. So sarva kalpana aspadam yasti bhati priyam or sachin matram asti bhati, which is required for any kalpana. Kalpana requires a basis. So Indra is a kalpana. But then that existence, in Indra is not kalpana because that is the non-negatable aspect. Indra may come and go, Indra changes, the form changes, nama changes, the rupa changes, karma changes. But that even changed nama is there, changed rupa is there, that being there, the being is not negated. And it is that fact that you are aware, therefore awareness also is not negated. So Satchit only as stated here. Satchin matram na kalpitam. So pratyektatvam na kalpitam. So now rupa karma kalpita, vasti bhati or Satchit matra na kalpitam. सर्वसाक्षित्वात् तस्य सर्वकल्पनायाः प्रागेव सिद्धत्वात् इत्यर्थः। तस्य सर्वसाक्षित्वात्, it is there when kalpana is not there, it is there when the sakshi has to be present. Sakshi must be present before the occurrence of an event, during the occurrence also, and hopefully after the occurrence also. So this projection of universe is an occurrence. Sakshi has to be present before that, during that, and after that also. So, sarva sakshitva tasya, that pratyak tattva or satchin matra, tasya sarva sakshitva, it is the illuminator of everything, witness of everything. Sarva kalpanaya prageva siddhatvat, therefore it must exist before the kalpana, then only kalpana can be there. And there were no occasion of shunyavada. That's the idea here. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.